Hey, would you like to know how to program this animation? In this video, I will show you how to create it on your own. Let's look at the screen. There are three main parts. Two halves containing an explore button on the left and the navigation list on the right, each having a width of 50%. The third part contains the images in the background. Let's start easy by creating a flex container I will call wrapper, and two children, left and right. In the left part, we add a div for the explore button. In the right part, we will add the same menu labels. Each one is located inside of a div. A spacer will help to create a gap between the last entry and the rest of the list. Now to the CSS. Let's make the background color black, add a custom text color, remove any unnecessary space and hide everything that overflows to the screen. The wrapper will be a flexbox and should take the whole visible screen. Each child div, left and right, should have a width of 50% and center its contents horizontally and vertically. The explore button has a width and height of 20 view width and centers its children using flexbox. It has a circular white border as well. The navigation is also a flex container and passes a font size of 5 rem to the elements. Let's change the cursor to a pointer while hovering a label. Each label has a relative position. That's important because we use an absolute position on its pseudo-elements. Create an after pseudo-element, positioned at the bottom left. It has a height of 4 pixels and takes the full width of the label. Let's change its background color and scale it down to 0. Add a transition and we're ready to add the hover animation. Just scale it up a bit on hover and there we go. Let's quickly style the spacer. Okay, looks good. Now to the part where we determine which label is selected. Hop over to the HTML and add some radio inputs. We don't need to see them on our page, so let's quickly hide them. Give the radio buttons unique IDs and assign each to the earlier defined labels. Now quickly add some rules to scale the after element up when the right label is selected. And there we have it. Okay, next thing, the images. Go to the HTML and add a div with the class name images right below the wrapper. Fill the container with 2 divs or more if you would like to support more pages, with class names of p1 and p2. Each of them should contain the same amount of images and represents one slide. The CSS make the container take the whole space and set it as fixed. Every image inside should have a width of 300 pixels and a height of 450 pixels. Finally, add an object fit of cover to make them look right. Next, make every slide take the whole space, make it a flexbox and center its elements. Now align the images to look nice. Make them overlap horizontally by using a negative margin and transform every second item either 100 pixels up or down. Nice. Quickly go back to the left and right elements inside of the wrapper and set its Z index to 2, so that they are on top of the images. Lastly, decrease the opacity of the images. Now let's hop into the animation part. I would like to fill the explore button on hover. So hop to its style rules and change the background scale and color on hover. Add the pointer cursor. Okay, the button looks good. Next are the images. Make them transform a bit further and change their opacity to 0 on default. If the corresponding slide is selected, we change the position and opacity values back to the original values. Add a transition to the images and do the same for each slide. I would like to add some detail to the current screen. So add a div beneath the images div and give it the class name button nodes. Now position it to the bottom of the screen, remove any padding and enlarge it in the font size. Change the color to some subtle color and set the font style to italic. To finally make it a navigation, we need to be able to open and close it. Put all elements inside a parent container called nav. I will change its background color a bit. Add a checkbox above the nav element and give it the ID show nav. When the checkbox is checked, the nav should be visible. Add a corresponding label with the ID menu button and keep its content empty. In the CSS file, position the menu button in the top right corner of the screen. Change its font and set its Z index so it's on top of everything else. Now Add a before pseudo element. Its content value is either open or closed, depending on the state of the showNav checkbox. Go back to the left and right div, the children of the wrapper. Transform them 25% to the left, change the opacity to 0, and add a transition. If showNav is checked, transform it back and set the opacity back to 1. I made the second element, that means the right part, delay the transition, so it looks more elegant in my opinion. I'm not quite happy with the image animation yet. Let's make it more elegant. Go back to the image rules and add some transition delays. Every image should have a different transition delay. Okay, looks better now. Now the last bit is missing. Let's hide the bottom node when the showNav checkbox is not checked by pushing it to the bottom and hiding it. Do the same with each image. And here we go. Almost done. There's one last thing. Change the pointer events of the navigation to none and make its background transparent. There we have it. Thanks for watching.